So Trump was very clear. You either break your economic ties with China, or I will find excuses to make your life impossible. So he started with tariffs. The tariffs didn't work out because the countries resisted. Now Latin America, because of Brazil's participation in BRICS, has a certain degree of sovereignty that didn't exist in the past. So the countries in Latin America were able to withstand. But specifically in the case of Brazil, the economy grew even despite the tariffs, because China was able to absorb the extra production from Brazil and the commodities not being exported to the US. China had strategic economical position of absorbing that excess of production. But some other countries in Latin America didn't have it so easy. Countries with blockades and sanctions like Cuba and Venezuela specifically, they don't have too many economical partners in order to be playing economical games. So breaking ties with China, even going around the sanctions and blockades, it's suicide for the Venezuelan economy. And remembering that the Venezuelan economy has been steadily growing for the past year, even outgrowing the economy of Argentina. The economy of Argentina, under liberal rule of Javier Milei, has to be rescued with $40 billion. And the economy of Venezuela under socialist President Nicolás Maduro has to be blockaded and attacked constantly in order not to survive. So what did the countries in Latin America did against this economical ransom proposed by President Trump? You either break ties with China or you face the American army. Countries had to decide. So almost a year ago, they started with these conversations about Mexico drug cartels being named terrorist organizations in order to justify military invasion. Everything indicates that the president of Mexico, Claudia Sheinbaum, came to an agreement with President Trump. She imposed sanctions on exports from China to Mexico, and Trump mellowed down on the rhetoric of invading Mexico. But it was not the same for Colombia and Venezuela, because President Petro and President Maduro stand still for their sovereignty and the sovereignty of their people, and reply to Trump that they will decide what to do economically. And because of that, Trump made an intensification on his violent rhetoric, and even like you said, broke several international laws in the face of no repercussion under international organizations, no sanctions at all, and committed crimes against civilians with absolutely no proofs, no justification, and absolute barbaric horror. Why? Because these countries are standing for sovereignty. So at the moment, this is the central question of the geopolitical game going on in South America. Who is willing to stand for sovereignty against the US? And how much is the US willing to risk to push countries away from economic partnerships with China?